We're live in Tel Aviv as Donald Trump reiterates the war with Iran is designed to eliminate the threat from a terrorist regime. Earlier, the U.S. Defense Secretary said the campaign will not be an endless war. It comes as the U.S. and Israel continued military strikes for a third day, with the Iranian Red Crescent saying more than 550 people have been killed. Well, there's been a significant escalation of the conflict, with Iran staging retaliatory strikes right across the Middle East following the killing of its supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, while the US and Israel have continued their attacks on Iranian targets. Israel's military says it's been focusing on Tehran, with huge explosions reported there. And now Lebanon has been drawn into the conflict, with the health ministry there saying at least 31 people have been killed in Israeli strikes. Israel says it was responding to attacks by the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. And Iran has continued to hit back at states right across the Middle East, targeting energy sites, including this oil refinery in Saudi Arabia and a major gas plant in Qatar. Global oil and gas prices have now risen sharply. In Cyprus, 2 drones heading for RAF Akrotiri were intercepted following a drone attack last night. And in Kuwait, 3 US fighter jets crashed after being mistakenly shot down by friendly fire. All 6 crew ejected safely. Well, Jeremy Bowen, our international editor, reports now on day 3 of the war.
6 missiles struck Sanadaj in Iran's Kurdistan province. Official Iranian media said densely populated neighborhoods were hit. Overnight in Tehran, more civilian casualties, including children and other patients from a hospital badly damaged in a raid. This was the Gandhi hospital this morning. Israel's prime minister said today that they were targeting tyrants in Tehran to protect civilians. But war is never clean or simple. In Kuwait, 3 American F-15 warplanes were shot down, the Americans said mistakenly, by friendly fire from the Kuwaitis. The crews ejected. And in Washington, Donald Trump is back at the White House from Florida, and he believes the war is on track.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon.
An Iranian attack forced the Saudis to shut down Ras Tanura, their biggest oil refinery. Iran is targeting Arab oil states across the Gulf, trying to disrupt and outflank America's power, hoping the Saudis and others will put pressure on Trump to end the war. But making Gulf Arab states who did not want the war into targets, this was Dubai, is looking like a mistake for Iran, pushing them closer to the US and Israel. The war is spreading across the Middle East. This was Beirut, attacked by the Israelis after Iran's ally in Lebanon, Hezbollah, fired into Israel's north. Hezbollah used to be a major part of Iran's forward defense, but it was hit very hard by Israel during the Gaza war. Reducing its capacity to harm the Israelis also weakened Iran, and now the Israelis are taking full advantage. It's coming at a cost for the Israelis, with funerals of some of the residents of the town of Beit Shemesh who were killed by an Iranian missile. Israel's air defense system is strong but not infallible. It has a finite supply of interceptors. In Jerusalem, shoppers and market traders had to run for cover yet again. Iran is trying to calibrate attacks so Israel burns through its air defenses. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, went to see the damage in Beit Shemesh and to restate his war aims.
If this regime, this terrorist regime of the kind we've never seen in the world, if they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity.
In Iran, the regime supporters have been on the streets. This was in the center of Isfahan. The authorities have imposed an internet blackout, making it difficult to gauge the mood. These scenes show the regime has a strong core of support, but BBC Persian has also been in contact with its opponents.
Bakeries and petrol stations are busy. The streets are not busy. The main concern here is that the US might do a deal and the authorities begin oppressing people all over again. I think the Revolutionary Guard still has power on the ground, and this is what makes people afraid.
People feel anxious and elated all at once. With every explosion, some shout with joy from their windows.
There are many security stations around the city stopping people that they deem suspicious. We are tired, very tired. The death of Khamenei is not enough. They all need to go.
It is only day 3 of the war. This has a long way to go. Probably weeks of airstrikes and, without a doubt, years of consequences. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News.
An overview of the conflict there from Jeremy. Our correspondents across the region have all the latest developments. Wira Davis is live in Beirut and Barbara Plett-Usher is in Doha. First to you, Wira, in the Lebanese capital, where there's been intense bombing by Israel and a new front opened up in this war.
Yeah, Clive, this is exactly, I think, what most people in Lebanon and certainly the Lebanese government did not want. The prospect of another costly and damaging war with Israel. But all day today, from the early hours of the morning, there have been Israeli airstrikes, not just here in southern Beirut, but also in the south of the country, both of them Hezbollah strongholds. The latest figures we've got tonight from the Lebanese Health Ministry is that at least 50 people have been killed. And, you know, we've had drones up in the air targeting, gathering evidence, gathering intelligence. And all of this, says Israel, because Hezbollah deliberately targeted with a small barrage of rockets northern Israel as part of its response to what the Americans and the Israelis had done in Iran. Now, the danger, of course, is that this could get out of hand. The Israelis don't trust the Lebanese to deal with Hezbollah properly. And Israel has basically today vowed that it will finish the job. It will target those named Hezbollah leaders, and it will go after Hezbollah's infrastructure as well. So the prospect, I think, of several days of increasing bombing and warfare here as this conflict does spread across the region. Clive.
Thanks, Wira. To you, Barbara, in Doha. Iran has struck Qatari and indeed Saudi Arabian energy sites. And in the last couple of hours, Qatar's Ministry of Defense says it shot down 2 fighter jets coming in from Iran.
Yes, remarkable developments here, Clive. The Defense Ministry saying that Qatar shot down these 2 fighter jets, gave no details, didn't say what happened to the pilots. But it's extraordinary for a Gulf state to shoot down a manned Iranian aircraft. The Qataris described it as a defensive action. And they took it shortly after they did something else quite significant. They shut down production of liquid natural gas because Iranian drones had targeted 2 of their main processing plants. Qatar is one of the world's largest producers of liquid natural gas, and the effect of that was immediate. The cost of European gas prices soared by more than 50%. Plus, you had that drone attack on the Saudi major oil refinery. So these are the first clear indications that the Iranians are willing to go after the Gulf's energy infrastructure.
Barbara Plett-Usher live in Doha and Wira Davis in Beirut. Many thanks to you both. Now, it's been announced that a 4th member of the US military has been killed in the conflict, but there are a few other details surrounding what happened. Meanwhile, the US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the Iran operation won't lead to endless war and that the aim is to destroy Tehran's missiles and other security infrastructure. Here's Tom Bateman.
After 48 hours commanding the assault on Iran from Palm Beach, Florida, President Trump was finally back at the White House. This first appearance in front of the media since the attack began, a Medal of Honor ceremony for America's wars past, while Mr. Trump made his case for its newest one.
The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development.
But that claim that Iranian missiles could soon reach US soil has not been supported by intelligence assessments. At the Pentagon, the Defense Secretary set out the military objectives, the emphasis now appearing much more limited than Mr. Trump's call on Saturday for Iranians to take over their government.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years.
President Trump always laid into his predecessors for foreign adventurism, epitomized in Iraq. But now key parts of his base are crying betrayal. Among the loudest of those voices, an ex-Trump loyalist, the former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She reposted the pictures of what Iran said was the strike that hit a school building. "I did not vote for this in elections or Congress. This is not what we thought MAGA was supposed to be. Shame," she wrote. Those voices will only grow louder with any more pictures of military setbacks like the downing of fighter jets, and especially with any more news of American war dead. Democrats are pushing for a vote in Congress, unlikely to succeed, to limit Mr. Trump's war powers.
Will the real reason for this operation please stand up? Because it is changing by the hour, right? It's regime change one moment, it's some undefined, imminent threat.
Donald Trump is vowing he won't get bored of his Iran offensive. He's spoken of potential off-ramps for the regime if it is ready to submit to his will. But it is pressures at home that might see this president looking for ways out too. Tom Bateman, BBC News, Washington.
Well, Sarah Smith is live at the White House for us. Sarah, he's only given pre-recorded statements so far on the war. You were in the room when he was speaking today. What did you make of what he had to say?
I think it's becoming clear that the White House is not making an absolutely consistent case for why they started this war now or what they hope to achieve from it, because what I just heard Donald Trump saying in there was rather different from what he'd said in those pre-recorded statements that you mentioned. Today, he said that he listed the objectives like destroying Iran's conventional missiles and stopping it from ever developing a nuclear weapon. But he did not repeat the call for Iranian people to rise up and overthrow the government. He said nothing about changing the regime in Iran, which had been a focus over the weekend. And similarly, he didn't tell us why now. He didn't lay out what the imminent threat to America was that meant that he chose to take action now. He said this was the last best chance to stop Iran developing a nuclear weapon, but didn't say why. And then he told us that he expects this war will last for 4 to 5 weeks. It remains to be seen whether American public opinion will stick with that.